The Justice for Vern Braswell Podcast. Background: Vern Braswell was convicted of murder in Memphis, Tennessee in 2005 after he was charged in the 2004 death of his wife after they engaged in erotic asphyxia during consensual sex. She was alive, although not feeling well when it was over, and eventually died hours later that night while in their jacuzzi tub. Fast forward 15 years later. The resurfaced evidence. In July of 2020, following a George Floyd march by the Memphis legal community, some of Vern's favorable evidence that had mysteriously vanished from the secured court clerk files 15 years ago, along with a letter of apology, was anonymously mailed to him in prison. After an expert authenticated the resurfaced evidence, an investigation into the claims from the letter yielded bombshell evidence of Vern's innocence, including DNA and forensic evidence that Vern had never seen. However, less than 2 months later, Vern's cancer diagnosis. In September of 2020, Vern was diagnosed with cancer in the midst of COVID outbreaks at his prison, that, at times, were killing inmates at a rate of 1 per week. Would Vern even live long enough to prove his wrongful conviction? After local judge Paula Scan refused to hear evidence on compassionate release, and after Vern's trial prosecutor, who's now the head DA, and the family of the deceased convinced officials to deny him cancer radiation treatments in a sterile environment on home confinement, Vern documented his journey in hopes that the Jim Crow injustices done to him would not die with him. The Justice for Vern Braswell Podcast. We'll share the results of the new investigation that proves Vern's innocence. And we'll share Vern's documentary covering the Jim Crow injustices done to him for over 17 years, so that if he dies, a record of the injustices done to him will not die with him.